We're back with the 2024 FAI E-Drone Racing World Cup. Welcome, everybody. I'm Matt Andrews. Thank you very much to everybody at the FAI and Area Drone for having me join you today as we're going to be racing around this incredible Alpine location for Race 2 of the 2024 season. Race 1 was a few weeks ago, the inaugural event of 2024, only the second event that Area Drone had ever had. The first one being back in 2023 at the World Championships out in Namwon. Now we're here for 2024. Race 1 was very exciting a few weeks ago. This is going to be Race 2 in a series which is open to all pilots who want to compete through Area Drone. As you can see, this incredible location is our Alpine setting for race number 2. So welcome everybody to the big finals day. It's been a number of weeks of qualification leading up to this point. Yesterday, our top 64 pilots out of qualification were reduced to the top 32, and it's those who are going to be racing with us this afternoon or morning or evening or wherever you are. And we do have pilots from all over the world taking part in this. And if you like what you see, then you should make sure you join in, as the season is open to absolutely everybody. You don't need an FAI license. You just need a copy of Area Drone. Anyone can enter this. All the details on how to get the game, how to enter this FA Up World Cup season for 2024, all of that can be found on areadrone.com. So settle in, everyone, for a great afternoon of racing, unless you're a pilot, in which case get ready and take us around. This is the track that our pilots are going to be competing on. And it's unusual, this one. It's an A to B point race. It starts off through the rocks, through some cones, and through this very narrow section there, which is going to give everybody a bit of a squeeze. Here's the first of our ladders. So that's through at the bottom, and then a left-hand turn and rise up to come out through the top of it. Then there's a slalom here with 3, and then 4, 5, and 6 pylons. You curve your way around the right-hand one. Bit of a 180 turn. Dive through the top of this gate. And it's a little bit of a blind dive, depending on how you approach that. And there's a few blind parts of this track as well. Here's the first of our cages. You go through the bottom of it, turn right, ladder up, and then go out through the top of it at 90 degrees to your bottom route. Climb up over these beautiful alpine hills amongst the birds. Another section here, which could be a bit blind, depending on how well you enter it, with a few twisting gates to roll your way through. Here's another one of the cages. This time you go down through the top half, right hand, and then come out underneath. That's a nice, beautiful section, which everybody would want to fly in real life, of course. Making a big gap between those cones. That's not too hard a gap to find compared to some of the parts of this track. Now we dive. A slalom here, and this is a lot slower. Obviously, what you're seeing now is a lot slower than it's going to be raced competitively. We had somebody fly this deliberately off pace, so you get an idea how it works. There's a left-hand ladder down through 2 more of these closed gates across the little bit of snow that we have here. We desperately want to go and do this one in real life. Here's another one of the cages. This is a downward one. That approach looks a little bit tight, but they made that work. And then around this cone, and like I say, it's an A to B point race. So there's no laps here. It is flat out from start to finish as fast as you can do it. Lap times, well, race times, we're expecting about 1 minute 10. To be what our pilots can do. I'm going to say at best, but I think they'll start improving on that. That was another ladder, a very narrow one. Kev's got to snuggle up to it to get out of the second part of it. Of course, I think our pilot's going to be taking most of these very tightly too. As you can see, this bit rocks and rolls a little. Here's another slalom. And then we've got a top route through here. That's not one you have to come back for. This is a dive gate. That's an approach that's going to, be a little bit tricky to go out of it, but you'll see how our pilots enter that. Once you've gone through the top, you have to go both ways, both floors, layers, if you like, to the bottom, between some rocks. Oh, going to have some more of this across the Area Drone stage. Put me on it. Only it doesn't exist, sadly. Here's a big old swinging slalom. And then look at this beautiful lit up entrance towards the lake. Don't hit the water. What you want to hit is that turn into that finish gate. And that's where you run. 1 minute 10. All thereabouts, we'll see. We'll see. Now, this is the second race of the season. The first race a few weeks ago ended with this. So these are the ranking points that the pilots have scored after the first race so far. So this is the standing for the World Cup season as it is at the moment. Yayu Swanvermissen, the 18-year-old French pilot, brilliant pilot, previously for X-Blaze Racing and with Cyclone Drone Racing, and seen at many FAI events as well. And the winner of the 2023 race out in Korea, which is our first ever area drone race. Yayu, the winner of the first race of 2024. Ion, brilliant Indian pilot as well, races for a team called China Dragons in the DCL. A few points behind him in second, and Valprim. Brilliant turnout for the Serbian pilot, just 15 years of age. Kirill making great names for himself recently in drone racing in 2024. He came in third. Then after that, Juicy Flick, Super U, and Gabri Prince getting up there. Davey FPV and Febby Chris with the rest of the pilots from the grand final and the small final between 5th to 8th place. And great to see here. Couple of French pilots, and we're always expecting French pilots to do well, and a lot of them were in qualifying for this race coming up today. But as you can see there, India, Serbia, South Africa, Italy, Australia, and Indonesia all being represented in the top 8. It's like the Olympics, only I think we like it more. Enjoying the Olympic action, though. I hope you are as well. This headphone lead is bothering me. Can you tell? Right, so that's our ranking after race number 1. As you can see, after one race, the points are massive. How would that be? Well, you get points depending on your finishing place in FAI standings, but you also get points depending on the number of competitors who were in that event as well. Everybody scores something. A lot of pilots come away with just 1 point for participation, of course. Now, this is the bracket as it stands for the remaining 32 pilots. That's what you're seeing here for the 32 pilots who remain in the competition. There were 64 yesterday. We had a round yesterday. It wasn't streamed. Don't worry, you didn't miss it. These are the 32 who are left. Seeded out of those 32, it's following a sort of qualification seeding, but we have had a few upsets. They are not all the top 32 pilots as you might normally expect to get through a qualification bracket. We've got some pilots who are 40th or 50th or thereabouts out of qualification, making their way into the top 32. Good for them. But these are the races we're going to be going through today to see who's going to be the champion of our second race of the season. We'll start up where it says race 9 with FPV Gilbert, Fenneman, Flocelli, and Yatutose, and make our way through all of the pilots. As you can see, loads of nationalities still represented. As I mentioned, a lot of Korean pilots here. We have pilots from Japan. We have pilots from the Philippines, Puerto Rico, some Norwegian pilots. I'm not going to go through every single one of the flags. Malaysia are in here too. It's great to see. And remember, you can enter this as well. AreaDrone.com. You can race in the remaining races of this season. The third one will be coming up. The finals are on the 8th of September. So you have a few weeks to enter. You just get AreaDrone. Go to AreaDrone.com. You can read about everything there about how to enter the season. It's not too late. Obviously, you will have missed 2 of the races in the calendar, but you can still compete in the other ones. Get FAI points. Get a standing in the World Cup, and we got a really big finals for this lined up in the 5th race of the season. I won't tell you any more about that just yet, but very exciting to see what we're planning for the 4th and 5th races of the season. But for today, race 2 on our Alpine track of the FAI E-Drone Racing World Cup. This is how we're going to kick things off. So, 8th finals, round of 8, before we get to the quarters and the semis, then the small and grand final later on. And it is the top 2 pilots of every race, 4 pilots in them, but the top 2 are the ones who qualify for the next round. FPV Gilbert, that's Jack Prosser out of Great Britain. He was the best in qualifying, and his best time in qualifying, 72.6. As you can see, though, his best time overall, and I love this because you don't get this usually, 70.799. That is the best time that FPV Gilbert has ever flown this track ever in any of his flights of it in all of his practicing, which is interesting for him that you can see he can go sort of nearly 2 seconds quicker. What's particularly interesting, though, is take a look at Fenneman. Guillaume, the 15-year-old pilot from France, who was very good at the 2023 races that we did the first time we were racing this. Fenneman, who wasn't in race 1 this year, he qualified in 24th with a time of 90.5 seconds, 1.5 minutes around this track, nearly 20 seconds slower than FPV Gilbert's qualifying time. However, Fenneman can fly in 72.876. That's the fastest he's ever flown the track. And he only entered one qualifying run, and that got him 24th place. So interesting to see whether he gave everything he's got in qualifying or why he only did the one run, why he settled with coming in 24th. Also coming up here, the German pilot Flo Celli will be in first race too, and Yatsusoze Seiji Okamura from Japan. He was 40th in qualifying. He is going to be racing too. First race then, FPV Gilbert, Flo Celli, Fenneman, and Yatsusoze for a spot in the quarterfinals. Top two get there. The other two are going to miss out. So good luck to all the pilots. Get ready, everybody. Here's our first race for today. And we're off with the first race of today. Gilbert, the fastest in qualifying, and the fastest for these four pilots. He's in red. Fenneman in blue, Flo Celli green, Yatsusoze just sliding behind, making his way through the ladder in yellow. We go on board with Flo Celli, who's in a fighting position right now. It's very close actually. Flo Celli just hanging on ahead of Fenneman, but it's very nice and tight between those. FPV Gilbert just hanging on in front of both of them. Flo Celli now into the ladder, trying to catch FPV Gilbert. Let's take a look with Fenneman here, who we know can be really quick on this track, as I was telling you. He's just ahead of Flo Celli and a little bit behind FPV Gilbert. Yatsusoze at the moment a little bit too far behind. Fenneman, then Flo Celli and Yatsusoze struggling to keep up with them. There's FPV Gilbert as he goes through the slalom now and into this twisting section. Is making his way down and up through those towards the trees, and there's Gilbert already down to the stage, starting to get away. Fenneman trying to keep with him. And it is Gilbert who's the first one to the finish. Then it will be Fenneman who progresses through as well, and Flo Celli just a little bit behind him. I think 5 or 6 seconds behind him in third means Flo Celli is going to miss out. And here's Yatsusoze from Japan, who is going to be finishing in fourth place and getting eliminated along with Flo Celli. And it'll be FPV Gilbert and Fenneman who are the ones who will progress. There you go, 118 for Fenneman. That's what we're talking about, isn't it? Did he go a bit slow in qualifying, is my thought. Well, Gilbert, though, with a 113, just outside his best in qualifying. So that's a really top showing from him in the first race of the day. Well done to FPV Gilbert out of the UK. Yeah, 73.158. That's an excellent time. Guillaume coming in 5 seconds behind him in second place, and then a little bit further behind for Flo Celli and Yatsusoze. They are the first ones who are going to be eliminated from today. And it'll be FPV Gilbert and Fenneman who progress through to the next rounds. So yeah, we're already getting off to a really good start there. And we're just updating the dashboards and everything behind the scenes. So there you go. FPV Gilbert and Fenneman will go through to the next round. They'll be the winners. They'll start in our first round of the quarterfinals. Who's going to race them? Well, we've got an Italian pilot dealing with 3 pilots out of South Korea to find out. That first race, very quick. Now we'll get to see how well other pilots do. So yeah, really strong showing. Nice quick racing. Gilbert will go through. Fenneman will go through. As I mentioned, Fenneman, very good at 2023's final that we did. That was at the FAI World Championships in Namwon, out in Korea last October. We, as well as having the FAI World Championships and the real life racing that was happening over in Korea, we also had the first ever FAI e-drone race with competitors who were both racing from home, but also of the competitors who had qualified for the real life championships who were there in Korea. And Fenneman was racing with that. Now, in race number 10, or the second one of our round of 8, as I said, it's Italy versus 3 pilots from South Korea. And they're very young ones as well. CMH FPV, just 14 years of age, was 17th in qualifying. Black Bear FPV is coming up as well. He's a 13-year-old pilot, Kim Dong-hyun. 8th in qualifying, though. Really good time from him, 77.4. That would get him in very nicely. And then we have Kim Kyung-mo, who's 15 years of age, out of Korea, a little bit further behind in times. 25th out in qualifying, but the best of all, best of all of those other than Black Bear, Gabri Prince. That's Gabri, who's racing out of Italy, 9th in qualifying with a time of 74.0. Sorry, his best time is a 74.0. But in qualifying, he managed a 77.7. So he can go a bit quicker. As you can see, though, Black Bear managed his best ever time in quali. Now we're getting ready to fly again. So Gabri in red, CMH FPV in blue, Black Bear FPV in green. Kim Kyung-mo will be in yellow. Here we go, second race then. This one could well be a little bit tighter between the Italian and all of our South Korean pilots who are here. Go on board. CMH, FPV on his chase. Gosh, it's super close between all 4 of these pilots, as you'd expect early on in the race. Now we climb up over the mountain with Gabri Prince, just slightly ahead of everyone from Korea. It's CMH who's in second, Black Bear FPV just alongside him, just a little bit behind him now as they've gone out through those cages. And CMH FPV all right between the cliffs. Then Black Bear FPV hanging on to him. Kim Kyung-mo with a little bit more to do early in the race. Gabri Prince leads them all down the hill. He's slaloming his way nicely, and he's into the next cage turns and has completed that all right. And so is CMH FPV, who's gone through the second one now and is chasing Gabri across the hills. But Black Bear FPV has got past CMH, put him from second down into third. Here's Black Bear FPV's view. Gabri Prince still ahead of him. CMH FPV fighting very closely behind him, but having a real problem rolling around as he's coming down here where the ground and the gates are all turning in different opposite directions to each other. Gabri Prince is into one of the gates just ahead of him, though. That's going to lose him a little bit of time. So Black Bear FPV now out in front, and Gabri Prince, who had a big hold up with one of the gates and was in a bit of danger, is in second. He makes it through. CMH FPV finishes now, and Kim Kyung-mo is the 4th one to come in. Wow, that was a bit of a mix-up happening for a lot of pilots in that one. But we are settling into how this is going to work. So that's the pilots who are going to be in the next race. I wonder if we've got the results of the ones that we just saw. It was Black Bear finishing in a time of 80.4, and then Gabri Prince in a time of 84.031. There's your results. So Black Bear FPV, yep, 80.4. Gabri Prince in 84.031. And then CMH FPV, who was in second for some of it, and flying along very cleanly earlier on. It's just a few seconds out of the running, will be eliminated along with Kim Kyun-mo, who was 5 seconds behind them. So Black Bear FPV and Gabri Prince are the ones who are going to continue. Race 10. Now our next 4 pilots will be getting themselves together. We're going to have a spread here: Australia, Japan, France, and the Philippines. That's what's coming up in race number 11. But as you can see, Black Bear FPV and Gabri Prince, those 2 pilots we just saw, they're going to be meeting FPV Gilbert and Fenneman in the next round. So let's take a look at who's going to be flying in race number 11. There we are, race number 11. So, another spread of pilots from various places around the world. We have Davey FPV out of Australia with a time of 75.2. Got him 6th place in our qualifying. So the best of these 4 pilots. Gagenga FPV out of Japan was 11th with a 79.6. Falcon AAO, a French pilot. There's a lot of them, I mentioned it. Our 19-year-old pilot, our French, that's Axel Vilmuth. He was 35th in qualifying. His best time is a little bit off the pace as well. But Notzi out of the Philippines. We're just waiting for him to get in to bring us to racing. 43rd in qualifying and possibly not where he needs to be right now. I don't just mean in qualifying, I mean in a lobby. 36-year-old pilot out of the Philippines. Only ran 2 attempts in qualifying. Falcon only ran 1. Davey and Gagenga had most of theirs. Davey putting in all 12 runs. To do the qualifying, you do it, of course, through areadrone.com as game. And you have to nominate a run that this is going to be a qualifying run. And I love it when it's set up like that. I love it when it's like, right, okay, this next run is going to be a qualifying run, as opposed to, oh, that one I did was good, let's bank that one. Then you would obviously spend as much time practicing as you can and just banking what you think are your solid laps. So no, you need to go, right, I'm on form. This next one is going to be a qualifying run. Or maybe I'll race a couple of times and then I'm going to say this next one's going to be a qualifying run. You have to nominate it in advance. I think that's a really terrific system. Get some confidence in yourselves, pilots. That's what you need. Okay, we're getting ready now with Davey FPV, Notzi, Gagenga FPV. I'm not sure Falcon is in the race to come. Yeah, I'm not seeing Falcon going to be taking part in this one. No, so Falcon isn't here. So Gagenga gets off to a good start. Davey with him, Notzi with them as well. It's all nice and tight. There's the first part of the turns, and we're on board with Davey. Sixth in qualifying. Should be the best out of these, but Gagenga, who was 11th in qualifying, is right with it too. Oh, this is good stuff between the 2 of those. We've completed that bit. Now we'll go for the bit between the rocks, nice and tight. Then the cones after that, massively wide apart in comparison. And slaloming down the hill. Davey looking like he might have just got a little bit out of shape. Gagenga chasing him down the hill still. A little bit of a gap opening up between them. A bigger gap between them and Notzi. Currently it's Davey and Gagenga FPV from Australia and Japan respectively in 1 and 2. It's Gagenga's view. He's not being troubled by Notzi from behind him, as Notzi is some way behind right now. Notzi's going to need a little bit of slow stuff happening for the pilots up front. And Gagenga, on cue, hits the gate hard and loses a bit of time, but he's still very close to Davey FPV, who's out in front still, and Notzi not gaining on the 2 of them enough just yet. Davey weaving his way through the slalom and then between the light poles heads to finish. Gagenga with Notzi nowhere near close enough to him. He was a lot closer than he is now, but Notzi some way behind. Unfortunately, Davey is in. Gagenga comes in too. Davey in a time of 79.5. Gagenga within 2 seconds of him. And now we have Notzi leading his final turns, and Mark from the Philippines is finding the finish gate there. So good effort from Mark. 43rd in qualifying, comes out in 3rd of this one. He is going to be eliminated. Second. No second chances here, I'm sorry to say. I hope Notzi's pleased with the performance he's put in there. Not as quick a time as we know he can do. Falcon not racing, so he's also eliminated. Davey and Gaganga, good times from them. That'll put them in a decent mix as they fight on in the next round. And that's our 3rd race of the afternoon. So hope you're enjoying the action. Let us know in the chat wherever you find us, whether you're watching us with on YouTube or on Facebook or on Twitch, as we are everywhere this afternoon. There's the 4th race coming up. Valprim, Snow Yeti, Jingyu Kim, and Alway FPV, Davey FPV, and Gaganga await the top 2 pilots of the next race. Falcon be kicking themselves for not being able to feature in that after doing well in the round of 64 yesterday and continuing in the battles, but he is done here. So the next race features Valprim, who was 3rd in the previous race a few weeks ago and 4th in qualification. And with a great time of 73.8 set in quali, his best time overall being set in quali. That's always great to see. He's going to be racing in this with Snow Yeti out of Norway, Jingyu Kim out of Korea, and Alway FPV from France. They just keep coming. I have a beret ready. I'm not kidding. And if that sounds a bit cliche, let me emphasize it's because the French drone racing team gave it to me. So I have it ready should I end up talking to any of them. Now, Valprim, Snow Yeti, Jingyu Kim, and Alway FPV with a big gap between them. As you can see, Alway's time in qualification 45th in 112 seconds. That's 1 minute and 42 seconds. So a long way off the pace of the others. Snow Yeti and Jingyu Kim could be very close with each other, scrapping it out for second. But by all accounts, Valprim, who is such a great competitor and he's only 15 years of age, the Serbian pilot Kirill Loban may get away and stay there. Keep an eye on the red drone. Let's see if we can keep up with him. Right. 4th race of our round of 8. Valprim, Snow Yeti, Jingyu Kim, and Alway FPV. Now we're off. Alway FPV a little bit slower than everybody else out of the start there. With some catching up to do. Jingyu and Snow Yeti close to each other. Valprim just a tiny bit ahead of all those. There he is. He's being chased by Snow Yeti, Norwegian pilot, now over the top of the hill. Valprim weaving his way into the cages and out through the bottom. Very nicely done. And now Snow Yeti carries on chasing in between the clips. And Snow Yeti starting to pull away a little bit from Jingyu. Jingyu Kim is shaky, coming down over the rooftops. The pilot who's in 3rd is just a little bit messy over the rocks. Snow Yeti a little bit cleaner there and out through the second one of the cages. Jingyu Kim only just reaching that now and is quite a lot more hesitant going through that. Alway FPV is a long way behind, sorry to say. There's Valprim through out in front, absolutely devouring the Alpine track. Look at Kirill go. That's tremendous flying. He's into the drop gate and the gates are just disappearing past him. Over the stage, he's already there. weaving his way between the slalom and keeping it nice and tidy. Snow Yeti in second has only just reached the cliffs. This is a massive lead for Valkyrie. He can go around again. There's the finish gate. That is an absolutely incredible bit of flying from him. Time 76.033. I don't think that's the quickest we've seen, but that was blisteringly quick across the rocks. Here's Alwa FPV, who's the only pilot still going. Valkyrie has finished ahead of Snow Yeti in second, and then it is Jingyu Kim who's come in behind him. And it's just got to make it to the finish gate there. Good show from all those pilots. Alway FPV coming in a bit further behind. There were 5 seconds between Snow Yeti's 122 and the third place of Jingyu Kim. 127.3 sees him eliminated. 5 seconds between those two pilots. It is Valkyrie and Snow Yeti who continue. Good battle. Great flying from Valkyrie. Just gone. Very exciting. Needs to get a bit quicker than that to stay ahead of other pilots who's going to meet later on in the tournament, but really showing us what he can do. Remember, third in the previous event, so great work from him. Hello to Nate in the chat, my good old buddy Nate Lewis, who's joining us on the YouTube chat. Welcome, Nate. I hope you're well, my friend. Why aren't you in this, Nate? Why aren't you racing? You know your way around a simulator. Would love to see you flying in this, along with all my other buddies from around the world too. But good to see you and everybody else who's joining us too. And if you're curious about how, if you're curious about the next race, we can tell you about that. If you're curious about Area Drone Simulator, you can get it at areadrome.com. And we'll be showing you more of the game later on too, but we'll show you our next race in the quarterfinals. I'm going to feature USA, Switzerland, India and Malaysia. We've got Pro Dangles, Lix, Ion FPV and a name I need to take a run up for. Menu Axadron. I am so sorry, Muir, if I've made a mess of your awesome gamer name, and I daren't go near Muir Mohammed Naiman Muir Mord Jamil, although I feel like I might have just done that. Pro Dangles, Lix, Ion and Minu going to be racing in the next one. 14th was Pro Dangles from the States with a time of 82.3 in quali. Lix 30th, Minu 46th, and it is Ion FPV, the Indian pilot who we know well in the DCL and other racing events too, with a time of 73.0 in practice and got a 73.7 in qualification, which is the time banked for him. We're looking here at the results of the last race, which we can ignore that. We don't need to see that, other than we know that Valprim and Snow Yeti were the two who progressed. They are not all DNFs, which is what I'm seeing here, is that they're all DNFs. That's not right. We won't worry about that. So here's the bracket. As we know, Valprim and Snow Yeti beating out Jingyu Kim and Alway. So Davey and Gagenga in the second quarterfinals. Valprim and Snow Yeti going to be scrapping with them. Davey and Gagenga can have a lot to do to keep up with Valprim. Snow Yeti could be right amongst the thick of all of those too. That's going to be very exciting. Looking forward to that one. And I've mentioned that we're seeing here Area Drone, the simulator. We will show you more about the game at some point. Okay, so here is the fifth race out of the quarterfinals. All right, here's the racing for the fifth race of the quarterfinals. Pro Dangles, Lix, Ion, and Muniu. These are qualifying number Ion FPV. Second in the previous event too. So he'd love to get a great finish in this one, and he leads everybody out. Very close to Lix, just behind him. Pro Dangles alongside there. Muniu just a little bit further behind at the moment. We're on board with Lix. Lix in the chase. Got to move up from where he is. Currently in third, but gaining a little bit on Pro Dangles. Massive pre-turn by Lix. Oh, and the second gate cost him. First one was more difficult, and he did a big pre-turn for it. It worked out. Now he's got to try and fly aggressively and confidently again as he is slipping behind Pro Dangles, who is challenging Ion FPV. There's not much between the two of them. Ion FPV going a little bit wild. Ion missing out on the gates there as this landscape bit, this dive down is very difficult as the gates start moving away from you and the landscape is taking all over the place. But Ion FPV keeping that ahead of Pro Dangles, who's in the chase right now, as you see, swinging his way through the slalom aggressively and boldly, and he's just a little bit behind. Ion FPV to the finish. Pro Dangles making the finish there as well. That'll see him progress too after being 14th in qualifying. He's going to get to continue. Here's Muniu's view, who is the only one still flying. Lix has finished in third. Muniu, our Malaysian pilot, now into the slaloms. Big run towards the finish now, just 2 gates to go. I know the Malaysian drone racing scene is growing as well, so it's great to see Malaysian pilots. There he is to the finish. Good run from him, but in 4th place behind the others. It is Ion FPV with the win ahead of Pro Dangles, and Lix gets eliminated with third. So for a couple of these races so far, going as you might expect out of some qualifying standings. Ion finishing the time of 75.3 and 78.5 for Pro Dangles. Lix just a few seconds behind, and Muniu a little bit behind there as well. So race number 5, Ion and Pro Dangles. 3rd and 14th in qualifying, those are the two who are going to progress. And as I mentioned, Ion, second in the previous race that we had. At the end of that, he was 4th in qualification, finished the whole event in 2nd. Pro Dangles was there as well, 20th in qualification, but actually came 44th in the racing. Didn't make it to the round of 32. Now he's already into the quarterfinals for this one, so that's a really good effort from Pro Dangles out of the States. He's going to be much further into this competition than the last time we saw him. Lix just missing out. He was 15th in the last event. Muniu wasn't in the previous race as well, but hopefully he and some other Malaysian pilots will join us for future matchups too. But yeah, Lix will be disappointed with coming out this one in the round of 8, as he was in the final 16 pilots last time. So 1 round further ahead of where he is now. But we'll see Cedric from Switzerland at a future race. Ion FPV and Pro Dangles from India and the States are the two who are going to progress next. .75.3. I'm not quite sure where that time puts him currently in the standings for Ion. Solid time, obviously. Pro Dangles is 78. That's pretty healthy as well. 78.5. Quickest time of everybody was Jack Pross's qualifying time of 72.664. Nobody's come near changing that yet. I think we'll see that qualifying time. Well, I don't know. Let me know in the chat. Do you agree? I suspect we'll see that qualifying time beaten in the heat of racing. And so there we go as we start filling up the right-hand side of our bracket. Pro Dangles and Ion first two into that side of the quarterfinals. Yes, Nate in our YouTube chat saying, yep, that's him. Yep. FPD Gilbert doing very well for himself. Next round of 8 matchup. South Africa, South Korea, Japan and France. And that includes the winner of the previous race here of the FAI E-Drone Racing World Cup, Yayu. Swan Vermissen out of France was 5th in qualifying, but was first in qualifying at our previous race and won that event. So expect good things, as always, from Yayu. So he's going to be coming up next and racing alongside him. Juicy Flick, 12th in qualifying, 4th last time at the end of race 1. So expect good stuff from Tristan Twine out of South Africa. 12th in qualifying though, perhaps his track doesn't suit him quite as well. Yeon Haram from South Korea, 20th in qualifying. Then we have Navy Wyvern, who was 28th in qualifying, and a pilot who's 38-year-old out in Japan. He came 9th last time, so we expect to see him into maybe the grand final or small final, the top 8 pilots this time. 9th just kept him just outside that previous race. 28th in qualifying means his track's not quite as quick for him, but let's see what we can do. Juicy Flick in red, Jeon Haram in blue, Navy Wyvern in green, and it's Yayu who leads them all out in yellow. Second being moved on the inside. Navy Wyvern takes second from him. Keeps it, goes a little bit high as they were coming out of the top of the cage. Has crashed into it, I think, and has dropped from 2nd to 4th. Needs to recover from there. Jeon Haram is between the two of those. Juicy Flick hangs on to 2nd place. Navy definitely took it from him with a much tighter turn. These cone turns though, down through the slalom there. That's all pretty good for Juicy Flick. In fact, he's not too far behind Yayu, but he's crashed there. Just got stuck on the cages. Gives pilots in 3rd and 4th something to think about as they try and gain on him. Juicy Flick still ahead of Yeon Haram and Navy Wyvern. Can't afford to make any more mistakes. Now this weaving section over the cliffs. Tightly done by them. Yayu, though, is blisteringly quick through all of them. Winner of race number 1. Qualified in 1st place for that one. Qualified in 5th for this one. He's already down to the lake now, so is Juicy Flick. Not far behind him, as you can see here, but those two way ahead of everybody else. And there it is, Yayu and Juicy Flick. 3rd, Navy Wyvern and Jeon Haram, not too far behind them. Juicy Flick will be happy with the 2nd. Obviously wants to win, but I think he'll be happy with the 2nd, given he may have had a little bit of a heart in his mouth moment early on in that race as Navy Wyvern came for him. Navy Wyvern going to be eliminated, sadly. Bold racing from them. Love to see it. But ended up 10 seconds and more behind Juicy Flick in 2nd place. And Juicy Flick are the ones who progressed. So that is two pilots who know each other well, and both raced against each other in the grand final last time. Yayu winning that one, Juicy Flick coming in 4th in that one. So we expect those to move on. And I mentioned earlier on there is a grand final and a small final. Semi-finals obviously seed pilots, and grand final, small final between the pilots between 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. But everybody wants to be in the grand final. Remember, these are all single elimination, one race. So you really want to be performing as well as you can. Everybody gets points towards the FAI E-Drone Racing World Cup season based on their finishes. Obviously, top pilots are getting more points, but everybody's getting at least something for participating. And the number of points available for for the whole event based on the number of participants as well. So, winning and beating more competitors counts more for you. That's how the FAI scores works. There's Yayu and Juicy Flick into the third of our quarterfinals. That's going to be a good one. 3 of those pilots were in the grand final last time. Ion FPV being the third. Wow. Out of the 4 pilots who were in last event's grand final, 3 of them are in the third quarterfinal. Only 2 of them can progress. Oh, someone's going to fall early. We move on. Sebin Min out of Korea. 7th in qualifying, the fastest of these pilots. Then we have Mayonnaise out of the Philippines, who was 10th. Omni FPV from Singapore, 26th. And then we have AB567 out of Korea, who was 18th. Best time in qualification, 78.7, putting him in 10th. That's Mayonnaise, but as you can see, his best time ever. Quicker than everybody else as well. So, potentially a win here for Mayonnaise. AB567 and Omni FPV, if they can bring us the best of what they've got, then those qualifying the times that they got here in qualifying could be vastly improved. They could need to do a lot more than that to get near Sebin Min. Perhaps this looks like a 1-2 might be a little bit of a big gap between 1 and 2, 3 and 4, but we will see. So let's go racing! South Korea, the Philippines, Singapore, and another pilot from South Korea, all extremely close to each other. Omni FPV just falling a little bit behind the other 3, who are almost neck and neck. Let's see, John Haram. This isn't, the names haven't been updated on what I'm looking at. Okay, so the blue pilot, that's Mayonnaise. And we're on board here with Sebin Min, there we go, from South Korea, who is currently just behind Mayonnaise. Between them, they both go through the cages. There's the second part of that, not a problem. Mayonnaise carries on leading them down the hill. AB567 with a little bit of catching up to do, but he is gaining a little bit on Sebin Min, who we're watching here in second, and Omni FPV is gaining 2 and is just passing AB567. Pilot in yellow has come to a big stop and is trying to recover out of that. 1 and 2, looks like Sebin Min and Mayonnaise, as I mentioned, would like to be a big gap between them, and in fact it's a close battle between them. Sebin Min trying to take Mayonnaise towards the end here, doesn't need to, the top 2 boats go through, but of course you want to get him. Mayonnaise heading for the final turn, ducks it, makes it! Oh, that's ever so close between the 2 of those. And it is Sebin Min by... No, it is Mayonnaise by less than... a tenth of a second. 300ths of a second. Mayonnaise getting the win over Sebin Min. Omni FPV coming back third. It's AB567. Who was in fourth place. Wow, those finishing times, look at that, a 1:16.4 for 1-1. Okay, that's been, yeah, it is. It's 300ths or 39 thousandths of a second if you want to go there. 400ths if you want to round them up. My son earlier about rounding numbers. There you go. 39 thousandths of a second between Mayonnaise and Sebin Min. Oh, so little. Omni FPV and AB567 just not able to keep up with the brilliant pilots ahead of them. We'll get a good scrap between them at times. Mayonnaise, 76s, 76.4s. Yep, that's gonna be a decent competitor for pilots in the quarterfinals as well. It's gonna be very difficult to try and squeeze, try and figure out who might go through beyond this. We know Sebin Min and Mayonnaise are the 2 who go in here, and sadly we lose our pilots from Singapore and the other pilot from South Korea. But we have one more multicultural round of 8 race to go. They are just warming up now. As you can see, Japan, Australia, Italy, and Malaysia. Ones who are going to be challenging in our last race of the round of 8. Right, race number 16, as it says here, last one of the round of 8. Great pilots in this as well, including our second pilot on qualification, Matteo FPV, Matsuyama Yuki, the 26-year-old pilot from Japan. He was 9th in qualifying in race 1 this year, 2nd in qualifying on this, the Alpine track, with a time of 73.6. So some of the racing times we've seen, like 76.4s and so on, not too far behind that. His best time, a 72.4 altogether. That is 0.2 quickest than the best qualifying time. So he can fly faster than FPV Gilbert's #1 qualifying time. The time he set on a qualifying run, though, got him in 2nd. Then we have Lucky Nemo from Australia, Matteo Gandini. Great to see him flying out of Italy, 39th in qualifying. But I'm sure he can get a lot further in competition than that. And then it is Adil's FPV from Malaysia, who's the 4th competitor in this. GNT, Matteo Gandini, one of the organisers of the recent FAI World Cup race in Italy that I had the great pleasure of going out and commentating on in Sumirago, working so hard with his team to put that together. Can't compete in it in himself out in Italy in the World Cup for the FAI because he was one of the organisers. Didn't stop working in any rain or conditions, and my gosh, did we have some weather conditions to fight in. Nevertheless, pulled off with his team and other Matteo and others an incredible competition. Let's see how he can do here. There will be Matteo FPV, 2nd in qualifying in red, Lucky Nemo in blue, G&D in green, Adil's FPV in yellow. Last one of our round of 8. Then Lucky Nemo, G&D. There's FPV getting a little bit left behind the Malaysian pilots. Slowest of these 4 in qualifying, and not quite keeping up with them as it stands. That's a bit of a problem though in the cages. So Matteo FPV still in the lead, and GND, who we're on board with now, was coming for Matteo in the lead in 2nd place and moving very close to Matteo, who we're now seeing flying down the rocks. But Matteo starting to get away, and GND is a danger here of coming in 3rd, whereas he needs to be in at least 2nd. Lucky Nemo has passed him. Let's take a look. Here's Lucky Nemo's view now. He chases Matteo down. How is GND doing? GND is right with him. It'd be great to go on board with our green pilot GND and see how close he's getting to Lucky Nemo. Race down the hill. Lucky Nemo and GND through the gates at the same time together. GND and Lucky Nemo. It's so hard to call who might be 2nd. Lucky Nemo needs to hang on to it. Now he gets away as GND ricochets off of the poles. Very hard. And this track is now seeing all 4 pilots spread out. Lucky Nemo no longer under the pressure he was. GND had the 2nd place in his sights. Matteo looks like he's never been in danger of losing first and secures it there, and Lucky Nemo has no one close to him. He comes in 2nd place. And GND, 2nd place was right there with him, but he crashed hard into some of the light poles. There's his final turn. He brings it home. Adil's FPV just untangling himself from one of the sets of cages and is just making his way past the trees and the rocks across the stage. Great to see, as I mentioned earlier on, Malaysian competitors in this, the Malaysian drone racing scene, growing as there's so many national scenes all over the world. I'm so excited to see it. Would love to get a chance to go out and see it in person sometime. For now, we'll enjoy Adil's racing. Well done for making it to the round of 8. The 32 pilots who've got it through to this stage. But Adil's comes in 4th. There's GND. Matteo Gandini from Italy sadly falls out at this stage. Was so close to 2nd. Slipped a little bit too far behind later on. The 11 seconds between those, it was nothing between them for a lot of that race. Lucky Nemo, a bit lucky after all. Matteo FPV, our 2nd place pilot out of qualifying, and 81.7 is nowhere near as quick as he flew this course in qualifying. or can do in practice, but a win is a win, but he's going to need a lot faster times than that to stay ahead of some of the other competitors. We're going to meet him and Lucky Nemo in the quarterfinals. With that, we conclude our round of 8. 8 matches in that, 8 finals, if you will. Your cultural preference, I think. So there's Matteo FPV and Lucky Nemo knocking out G&D and Adil's FPV, so they'll make it into the last of the quarterfinals. So now our quarterfinals are all lined up. As you can see, 16 pilots remaining, 4 races of 4. That'll get us down to the 2 semi-finals, and everybody in those semi-finals will find themselves in the grand final or in the small final for 5th to 8th place. It's all important. There are a lot of points available towards the World Cup standings. Some of these pilots perhaps only here to race the one event and then see whether they feel like they can feature in the later ones. Some of these pilots perhaps saw the first race of the season a few weeks ago and decided, yeah, I want to come in for this. And you can do that as well. All you need to do is get areadrone.com, go there, get the game, play it on Steam. You too can take part in any of the future races here at the FAI E-Drone Racing World Cup with Area Drone. Quarterfinals then are going to be
in the green and Juicy Flick in the yellow. This is the grand finals. Get hyped in chat. It is now that the best players, the best racers are going into it. As we have a perfect three-man connection here in Yayu, Ion, and Valprim. They are all so close to each other, and it will have to do with how safe you are, as it seems that Yayu does get a better end of his first lap. 21-second lap recorded here for Yayu.
The FAI E-Drone Racing World Cup used the Area Drone Simulator, a physically accurate FPV drone racing simulator made for esport. This simulator has 16 different environments, from a stadium to an abandoned castle or a city, and can have all kinds of tracks, with virtually no limits. After a successful first event in 2023 with the FAI World Drone Racing Championship in South Korea, with the FAI E-Drone Racing Cup, the FAI decided to organize 5 events the following year: the 2024 FAI E-Drone Racing World Cup. Each event is split into 3 main stages: the registration, the qualification, and the competition, split into 2 parts. The second part of the competition stage, with eliminations starting from the 8th of finals with races of 4 pilots, is live-streamed on multiple platforms, including YouTube and Twitch, the livestream platform for video games. The track used during the inaugural event is the exact same track as the FAI Drone Racing World Cup Italy 2024. This simulator is in fact used by the competitors of real-life drone competitions for training. At all times, for each stage, the competitors or spectators are able to follow in real time the results on the Area Drone website or the FAI website. As the livestream is around 2 hours long, it makes it easy to watch for anyone, and it is possible therefore to promote sponsors.
And then Super Ewan and Davey kind of close to each other. Hard to tell. It's really, really close between Gabri and Super Ewan. Oh, and in the end, when the dust settles.
This is the FAI E-Drone Racing World Cup with Area Drone, the physically accurate FPV drone simulator made for esport.
Hi, Matt.
Gabri and everybody, welcome back. We're just showing you a little bit there of our Alpine track and area drone, the game, which of course you can get from areadrone.com to play on Steam. Let's have it with you, Gabri Prince from the looking at the China Dragons imagery. That's rather good on you, isn't it? So, Gabri, how are you feeling about this one? 9th in qualifying. You were 8th in qualifying for the first race that happened a few weeks ago. In that one, you made the small finals and you're putting in decent times today. So, good start, yeah?
Yeah, it's looking good today. I mean, I hope at least to get in the grand final in respect of the inaugural event.
Yeah. And were you pleased with how well you performed in the inaugural event, or did you think a grand final spot was close to you there as well?
I mean, I did a big mistake in the last race, so yeah, I think I could have got like 4th, but I mean, whatever. It's a race, so anything can happen.
That's right. These things do happen, don't they? So 6th place in that, though, is still, a huge achievement. You are, I take it, going to be competing all season long. We're going to see you trying to qualify for all 5 of the races, I hope.
I hope so. Yeah.
That's the intention. That you'll be, trying to stack up the points and looking at the World Cup season as a whole.
Yeah, I aim to put a good result in the overall season. Yeah.
Okay, so you are into the quarterfinals. You've got FPV Gilbert, Fenneman, and Black Bear FPV, I believe, as your competitors in the first race that's coming up in a moment. That's a stiff challenge for anybody. I think there's some strong pilots in that. Your qualifying time in 9th. Well, Black Bear was 8th, Gilbert was 1st. So based on qualifying, you've got just to outfly a little bit more.
Yeah, Gilbert will be a nice challenge to to beat. Yeah, but I think the main the main pilot I need to beat is myself, because I didn't sleep in like 2 days. So yeah, I was away. So I need to stay focused.
Yeah, sure. Well, Black Bear's race earlier on was a 77.4. You had a 77.7. So super close between the two of you getting into the quarterfinals. That top 2 spot is just there, Gabri. You could have it.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, they were talking also on Discord. Yeah, sorry.
Don't worry. Yeah, you're to be into the top 2 and progress through to the semi-finals. Based on the timings of the event so far, you've just got to go a little bit quicker than you were doing before. Do you like this Alpine track?
Yeah, I really like it. There's some section I still need to understand how to pick in a fast way, but overall it's a really good track. I like it.
Yeah, it is a challenge as well. The rolling section down the rocks and things. I know a few pilots have been struggling a little bit with that one, but the technical elements, you're okay with those, I think.
Yeah, only the I struggle only with the how is it, the little drop before the end of the track, since it's on the side of the mountain. It's difficult to pick it up if you come at high speed. So if you mess it up, it's hard to recover.
True, and I think that's true of a lot of this track as well. And with the pilots we've got, not many sort of second chances. Gabri, I'll let you get ready. You're in the first quarterfinal. That's coming up next. Good luck, Gabri.
Thank you. Bye, Matt.
Bye. Good to see. Good to have a chance to catch up with Gabri for a little while. Well done him for making it into the next round. So welcome everybody, as it is quarterfinals time. And thanks to everybody who's joining us. Gosh, I've got so many windows to try and keep up with you all. Also, let me just say hello to our friends who have been watching with us on Twitch as well. Janelberg and Mad Ansem is there as well. And Dave always always makes me smile. That's such a good name. Why didn't I get that one? Janelberg's supporting Yayu. I'm sure there's many more of the French community around to support Yayu and our other many French pilots. There are so many of you. Isaac watching on YouTube as well, along with Andrew Prosser. Hey, everybody. Ion's in our chat on YouTube saying, yeah, Gabri joined us at China Dragons. Yes, that's a bit of news that I wasn't sure whether we were... is that right? Should I talk about that? Well, it's official now. So thank you for confirming that and getting that out in the public. That's good. Krutharth in our chat, as he's getting ready for the next race. Gabri's got to be ready for that as well, and he's just warming up now, I can tell you. Along with FPV Gilbert, Fenneman, Black Bear, FPV. Those are the pilots in the first of our 4 quarterfinals. So, top 2 progress to the semi-finals. Everybody in the semi-finals is either into a grand final or the small final, getting the big points. That's where you need to be. Out of the racing so far, as you can see, of the competition times, you look on the right-hand side of that table there, you can see that nobody as yet has flown a faster time out of these 4 pilots than they have managed in qualification. So nobody's flying those yet, but I think FPV Gilbert's best time is up for grabs by someone. No points for that, though, don't get me wrong, no, point for fastest time or anything like that. It's just racing. It's FPV Gilbert in red, Fenneman in blue, Black Bear FPV in green, Gabri Prince in yellow for a spot in the semi-finals. We are underway. Start by Gabri, just ahead of Black Bear, then Fenneman, and FPV Gilbert finds himself fractionally behind and slipping a little bit further. FPV Gilbert's got off to a bad start between the cones, and he's going to need to pick things up from there. Black Bear FPV has got Fenneman right alongside him, and ahead of both of them, Gabri Prince seems like talking to me in an interview. Here's the warm-up you need. Gabri still out in front. Fenneman just starting to stay ahead of Black Bear FPV. Here's his look now. Pilot in green out of South Korea sees second place Fenneman just ahead of him. Now there's the ladder down, and that's good for both of them. And Black Bear FPV now with FPV Gilbert hovering around him. Gabri Prince and Fenneman, they're close. It's yellow and blue. Gabri Prince and Fenneman out in the lead at the moment. There's the ladder for Fenneman, and that's pretty strong now. Gilbert and Black Bear side by side in third, but they don't need to be there. They've got to start moving. Gilbert best in qualifying, on the brink of being eliminated here. He's gaining. Our pilot in red gaining on Fenneman now, fighting alongside him. Gabri Prince just ahead of both of them, but Fenneman has not got this second place secured. Gilbert just over the top of his views, one above the other. They're both coming to the lake. Gilbert may be about to take him on this final turn. There's the turn and into the finish gates. It is Gabri Prince with the win. And now it is Fenneman with the win at the end, just ahead of Gabri Prince. What a finish! Not only hanging on ahead of FPV Gilbert for second, he goes and takes the win as well. What an amazing battle under pressure from Fenneman, the 15-year-old French pilot, who I said is a lot quicker than his qualifying had suggested. Yes, I knew you had it in you, Fenneman, at 75.237, 0.03 of a second quicker than Gabri Prince at the end. And Gilbert, 0.3 of a second behind them, is eliminated. The best pilot in qualifying is out. Fenneman, I knew your qualification times were not the times you were capable of. Did he put himself further down in purpose? Gabri had that race lead, all his until the final turn. What an exciting race. We'd love to see the end of that again. Fenneman just ahead of him at the end. Look at that, not even 0.03 of a second. Gilbert goes out though in third. Black Bear FPV 5 seconds behind. That battle at the top 3. He is going to be leaving us in 4th place. Wow! Huge result there. Gilbert steps out. Gabri stays in. Fenneman stays in. Wow. Gonna lose. FPV Gilbert and Black Bear FPV. Wow. There you go then. So the number 1 pilot in qualifying. he is out. Fenneman, who wasn't in the first race of this season, but we know he's great on Aerodrome from how he battled in the 2023 competition. He carries on in here, and Gabri Prince wanted, as he said in his interview, to do better than he did last time. He was sick in the first race of 2024, wants to make it to the grand final, those top 4 pilots. Well, he goes through into the semi-finals. The grand final or the small final, he's definitely in one of those. Wow, what a battle. Madex in chat, wishing good luck to the Japanese pilots Gagenga and Matteo. Madex, my friend, always good to see you. Nate in chat saying it wasn't his fault this time. If you're not... Yes, there was a time in the past when FPV Gilbert was messaged by Nate Lewis. He knows it very well. Nate messaged FPV Gilbert during a DCL race and FPV Gilbert crashed. Have your notification sounds turned off? There's a tip for you. Flo Celli, who was eliminated earlier on, still watching and cheering on their races. Great to see it. GG from Gilbert in the Twitch chat as well. There you go. I just love drone racing pilots and how great they are. Cheering each other on. You're eliminated in the tournament. GG to everybody else. It's amazing work. Well done, everyone. Keep this coming, everybody. Let's take a look at the next quarter-final. It will be Davey FPV from Australia. Gagenga, young Japanese pilot that Madex is cheering on. Valprim from Serbia and Snow Yeti from Norway. Yes, now this is getting sharp now. Valprim's time's about a second behind some of the best we've seen. Davey and Gagenga. I said whoever's going to be up against Valprim in the quarterfinals has got a scrap coming ahead of them. There you go. Valprim's 73.8. Not hanging about. Just ahead of Davey, though. Look at that, with a 75.2 in the competition so far. That's qualification times. So they haven't met those times, haven't pulled off those speeds in the races so far that we've seen. Based on qualification, Davey FPV and Valprim might be a little bit ahead of Gagenga and Snow Yeti, but when it comes to racing, this can all get mixed up, and that's why we love it. Davey FPV in red for Australia, Gagenga for Japan, he's in blue, Valprim out of Serbia, the one to watch in green, Snow Yeti, the best kind of Yeti, I feel. Those Sun Yetis, nowhere near as well known as Snow Yetis. Evan Bratton from Norway. He's going to be racing in yellow. Yeah, we're really going to see what these pilots can do under pressure, as we're going to get a lot closer battles now. Only the second race of the quarterfinals coming up. Hope you're enjoying this. Full send, says Nosty. You know it. Final moments before this race gets underway on our Alpine track. Nate says send it. Off they go. Thanks for the start, Nate. Valprim. Good strong start from him. Very close. Snow Yeti in second. Gagenga and Davey just hovering around that second place as well. There's a look at everybody moving about. Davey just trying to keep up with everyone else, just slipping a little bit further behind now. Valprim just starting to stretch away. Gagenga and Snow Yeti fighting between them for second and third. Davey FPV, one of the quickest pilots in this, needs to catch up. Getting close to the halfway stage. Davey down in fourth. Then Snow Yeti. Gagenga is on board. See him making his way around that ladder and chasing Valprim, Serbian young pilot, young superstar pilot who's only discovered fairly recently. A member of Raiden Racing, a former World Championship team in the Drone Champions League. Valprim showed them what he could do and they signed him. Now this is all going a little bit slow. Valprim is away. Snow Yeti, the yellow drone, has got Gagenga in third, extremely close to him. We need to take a look at the battle as Davey is moving past both of them into second. Where did he come from? The battle is on for second now. Davey and Gagenga second and third. This was your second place pilot. There's a red drone just ahead alongside him now. Gagenga and Davey for the final turn. Who's going to take it? Oh, it is so close. And I think Gagenga has got in by about a tenth of a second that he made on that last turn. Valprim, your clear winner. Then it is Gagenga in second with a 120.74, just ahead of Davies, 120.88. The 1/10 between them is the difference between Gagenga in the semi-finals and Davey being eliminated. What a good battle that was. Davey, alongside everybody, then dropping to the back early on. What a comeback from him. Not quite enough, just missing out on the semi-finals. But what a great effort from Davey to try and get there. Nearly had it. Look how close that is. Gagenga was getting into some real danger. Valprim, though, completely unaffected by all of it. 7 seconds ahead of everybody else with a 73.7. Yeah, tremendous times. Yeah, Valprim, you would expect to see in the later stages of this. He was third in the grand final of the last area drone race. Fourth in qualifying for this one too. So real consistency from him. There's your first semi-final. Fenneman, Gabri Prince, Valprim and Gagenga. France, Italy, Serbia and Japan. Loving how mixed, multicultural this is. Oof. Fancy another quarterfinal? I do. Let's have another quarterfinal. Let's keep these coming. We've had so many different nationalities take part in races one. Races 1 and 2. We've had 29 different nationalities take part across the two races so far, which is just amazing to see. Right, for this one then, Ion, FPV, third in qualifying, second at the last grand final. He'll want to make sure he gets to that. But Pro Dangles from the USA, Yayu from France, and Juicy Flick out of South Africa. 3 of these pilots. Ion was second, Yayu was the winner. Juicy Flick, he was 4th in the last grand final. 3 of these pilots were in the last grand final. Now they meet in this quarter-final. Only 2 of them can progress. And we've got Pro Dangles ready to mix it up amongst all of them. Yayu in green, Ion in red, Juicy Flick in yellow, Pro Dangles in blue. Close to each other. Let's take a look with Ion. Yayu just fractionally ahead of him. Juicy Flick just starting to slip a little bit further behind Pro Dangles. Maybe gaining on Juicy Flick for third place. It's good work from Pro Dangles at the moment, although he's got a little bit lost around one of the cages, and that's probably going to see him stay in 4th place. Ion FPV. With Yayu, these 2 pilots know each other very well, but Juicy Flick is not far behind, although maybe starting to slip again. Just when he gets a little bit close to Ion, it all just gets a little bit slower for him. And Ion, Juicy Flick, here he comes again. He keeps gaining on that second place. He just can't seem to keep it consistently happening. Pro Dangles seems to have a bit more speed and then gets caught out and again on another one of the cages a little bit further behind, so they're staying down in 4th. Ion FPV coming to the end of this race now, a little bit shaky through the slalom. Yayu comfortably ahead of him now and is making the final turn. He's into the finish, and it is going to be Ion FPV who's there now in second. Juicy Flick a little bit further behind than he was throughout a lot of that race. Pro Dangles comes to the finish now. It was a lot closer than the finishing times will suggest. But it is Yayu with the big win there. Ion FPV progresses to the semi-finals alongside him. Juicy Flick just missing out. first of the previous grand final lists to fall. Yayu, 74.0. 3 and a bit seconds ahead of Ion. 5 seconds nearly between him and GC Flick and a few more to Pro Dangles. But like I say, those finishing times not telling you the whole story of that race. Do we lose 2 more? Really getting tight here. So first of the semi-finals, we already know it's Fenneman, Gabri Prince, Valprim, and Gagenga. On the other side of things, we've got Iron FPV and Yayu joining them, the last 2 spots in the semi-final. 4 pilots to go out of race 20. I mean, these are both really good semi-finals, however this works out. Everybody in this top 15 qualifiers, except for Fenneman, who was 24th, but I'm totally disregarding that time. It's just not, it's not indicative of what he can do, as we have seen, and I think that may have been intentional. I don't know. Anyway, let's concentrate on the last of the quarterfinals. Sebin Min, that's Min Sebim out of South Korea. Oh, there's another, just the mix-up of the nationalities in this tournament is just wonderful. Truly representing international drone racing. Let's say, Min Sebim out of South Korea. Then we have Giancarlo Tan Mayonnaise. What a good race he gave us earlier on in the previous round. The Philippine pilot, 10th in qualifying. Really strong showing from him. Matteo FPV, well-known Yuki Matsuyama from Japan, member of Raiden Racing, 2nd in qualifying. He can make a big statement in the grand final as well, and one of the best times. Look at that, 73.6. And then we have Lucky Nemo, that's Elsei Timofeev out of Australia, who was 15th in qualifying. Their time so far, a little bit behind everybody else's, and it was maybe a little bit of luck that helped Lucky Nemo get into this stage after the crash that we saw one of the other pilots have in the previous round. Out of these, I feel like Lucky Nemo's probably got the most to do. Because even his best time outside of qualifying, as you can see, is 78.9. That's still a little bit off of everybody else's pace. And then we've got Matteo, and we've got Mayonnaise and Sabine. They all can do quicker times than they did on their qualifying runs. Who's the top 2 to go through? Feels like red, blue, and green are going to be taking it between them, but I'd love to see Lucky Nemo turn up and really give us a quicker time than they've done. Great to see in the chat, Jan and Yuki getting support from Nosti. Gagenga is back with us as well. Gagenga, who's in one of the semi-finals, is willing on Matteo to be in the other. Yes, Gagenga FPV, it could well happen. Snow Yeti, sadly. Pro Dangles being cheered on by you. He's just slipped out of the competition now. Semi-final spots. Last ones to grab. Away we go. So close to all 4 of these pilots. All 4 of them. Oh, come on now. Sabin Min's the first one. Start to just slip behind on the others, and maybe that was one of the most unexpected ones. We're on board with Lucky Nemo, who we're saying probably has the most to do here. We're currently in 3rd and not far behind Sabine Mim, who's moved from 4th up into 2nd, and it is Mayonnaise now alongside everybody else. It is really close, all 4 of them. Anybody could win this, anybody in 2nd, anybody could be the ones who are sadly missing out. Sabine Mim now takes his turn in the lead. Look at the progress bar at the top of the screen thanks to Area Drone. Most they all are. Is it Mayonnaise who's going to start slipping now? He's chasing along the rocks, going through the cages, just a little bit rocky on the exit of that. Slips a little bit further behind. Maybe Mayonnaise is the first one to miss out. Sabine Min, Matteo and Lucky Nemo 2 of those 3 are the ones who are going to get to the semi-finals. Sabine Ming carries on ahead of Matteo. Lucky Nemo still flying strongly, not too far behind Matteo. And you know what? Mayonnaise is back in this. Don't count him out. He's fighting now with Lucky Nemo for third. Matteo FPV just ahead of both of them. Sion Min, Sabine Min, surely the pilot who's going to win this one. And earlier on looked like he might be out of the top 3. He gets the win. Who's the other pilot to progress out of everybody else? Look, Sabine Min with his win, and it is Matteo just hanging on ahead of Lucky Nemo. 1.6 seconds between them. Perhaps a little bit more than me going but the racing between them was such a tight battle. And Mayonnaise, perhaps surprisingly, down behind Lucky Nemo by 1.2 seconds behind him. It is Sabine Min and Matteo who are the 2 who are going to progress. Mayonnaise falls, Lucky Nemo falls. We do have a Japanese pilot in each side of our bracket. Genga will be pleased. Epic race, says Nazi, and so do I. There's your confirmation. Look at that, 77.9 and then a 78.6. The 0.7 seconds between them. Sabine was in 4th, ends up in the win. Matteo was in the lead, will take 2nd. Lucky Nemo, there's a spot in the semi-finals, just hovering in and out. Mayonnaise was in the fight too. Just amazing battling. Gotta keep it consistent though. That's what we're seeing from our best pilots, that they can keep it consistent, that they can go out and win races or get top 2 in races, no matter how maybe off to a bad start or an early crash. Give it everything you've got, no matter what. The race can always come back to you. Wow. We have our 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th fastest pilots in qualifying here. Gilbert fell at that stage, the fastest pilot in qualifying, so he isn't in the semi-finals. Fenneman, Gabri Prince, Valprim, and Gagenga are lining up for the first of the semi-finals. That's quite a tough one to call. Valprim doing extremely well. Gabri showing us some great flying just now. Gagenga and Fenneman might start to be a little bit of a stretch. We will see. In the second semi-final, Yayu and Ion FPV, the pilots who were 1st and 2nd respectively in the last grand final. They're in the semi-final number 2, Sabine Min and Matteo FPV. Can they split that pair? Matteo FPV with his qualifying time. Struggled a little bit in the race just now, but still finishing very strongly. If he can show us the fastest he can do on this track, yeah. One of Yayu and Ion might find that they're not in another grand final in 2024 yet. Sabine Min, the young Korean pilot, in the mix. Could cause an upset too. Just absolutely brilliant racing. What 2 semi-finals we've got to look forward to. Let's take a look at the drone that everybody is flying with here as well, just to give you an idea. It's an area drone. And there are a number of tweaks you can make in area drone. We are using the spec drone here, 475 gram beast. Very quick, up to 131 kilometers an hour. Acceleration, yeah, it's drone. It just goes, like all of our best racing drones. But basically, think of it as being modeled on a 5-inch 6S. No, you can't have one. No, you can't exactly make one. Well, you could try. You could try. You could try and make it. I'd love to see some real-life versions of this. Special skins as well available in-game. If you get into one of the events, I think there are skins available, like a limited edition skin to show you were at that event. So that's available in-game too. There are other drones that you can fly in Area Drone, but for the FAI E-Drone Racing World Cup, this is the spec drone that everyone is flying. I like that on the back. Just underneath, it looks like it's got a rocket. I like the little yellow light underneath. Interesting design. I think maybe a few more blades wouldn't go on this. And yeah, if anybody wants to make a real one and show us what it looks like in real life, I'd love to see that. Area Drone guys would love to see that too. Let's take a little wave over as well to the guys working so hard behind the scenes. Here's production and race control. Eloan with his mobile headset, just wandering about, plugged into everything all of the time. We also have Alexander, race control, kicking our pilots into lobbies, kicking them into shape as you have to do. Good work, Alexander. And Hugo producing the stream. Well done, producer Hugo. And Eloan there as well. I think they're all in France. I'm not entirely sure. Could be anywhere, couldn't they? Maybe they're not real. Maybe they're part of the simulation as well. Maybe they're all simulated. It looks like we got caught in a little bit of an animation cycle there. Maybe I've broken the simulation by pointing it out. Yes, Alexander. I'm loving the big balls on the back as well. They asked me, do I want to commentate from that? I said, no, don't give me a 20-screen multi-view. Are you nuts? Give me some shots like this. Look at the beautiful landscape this is. Our Alpine track here in Area Drone. So there'll be a different track raced in every one of the 5 races this season. I'm not sure if I can tell you. I'm not sure if I can tell you about the tracks that are coming up later. I am not sure off the top of my head what's been public and what isn't. But races 4 and 5 in particular are on tracks that are very interesting in terms of locations. And the 2023 track that we did last October was actually a copy of the FAI Drone Racing World Championship track out in Namwon. So that was raced virtually as well as with the real life racing that happened out of the World Championships as well, which is such a thrill to be at. Hope to see you all and tell you about the racing at the future FAI World Championship track this year, which is in China. We'll see as we get to that later on this year. This, though, is the FAI Drone Racing World Cup, so points from this do not count to FAI standings for the real life Drone Racing World Championship. No, there's been amazing events recently. In Varna in Bulgaria, the Serbian race was terrific as well. Congratulations to everybody out scoring points in all of those too. There's more races coming up in the real life drone racing season before the World Championship final with the FAI, which is later in October and going to be in China this year. We are going to grab one of our pilots and just have a quick chat with them before we get into the semi-finals while some of our pilots are warming up. Semi-finals ahead of us. That is FPV Gilbert.
Hello.
It is a tiny FPV Gilbert. Hello, tiny
Yeah.
FPV Gilbert.
Can move a bit closer.
You could come a little bit closer. We don't. But FPV Gilbert, winner of qualifying, but sadly out of the tournament already. What happened to you in the last round?
Well, took off Gabri Prince, had a bit of a better start, and then just going to that first ladder, I had this name tag cut across the front, judged my turn wrong, and then just couldn't quite come back. Really close at the end, but
yes, very close. Yeah, a really good scrap from you at the end. Sadly, yeah, you are not making it through to the semi-finals and the bigger points that come with that. You weren't in the first race of the season that happened a few weeks ago, the inaugural event for 2024. Did you watch that one, and did that make you decide to enter this, or were you just not available for the first one?
That was Western Park, so no.
Yes, of course.
That weekend. Yeah.
Yes, of course. You and I were both at the British Drone Racing Championships. Yeah, of course you were there. Otherwise, I'm sure you'd have enjoyed taking part in that, and I did enjoy seeing you out in a field where we both were doing the real. Why am I thinking about real life racing? We did real life racing. That's why we weren't there. That's why I wasn't there. That's why you weren't there. But in this one, a decent showing from you in this. How did you like the track?
Track was different. It was interesting. I think it helped me because it was different to what most of us are used to. Very, very challenging. A lot of very precise turns to do. A bit scary.
Why do you say you think it helped you that it was different than what most of you are used to?
A lot of these pilots fly mostly what we see in real life. That's what they train. I've flown probably more weird sim tracks than most of these pilots. I've raced all sorts of sims and stranger elements and stuff. It's kind of where I feel at home.
Nice. Weird tracks is where Gilbert feels at home. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Have you done many A to B races as well? These sort of point races as opposed to laps?
No,
they're not common. So how did you find the challenge of learning that? Because you're not repeating a lap and obviously learning that lap repetitively every time you race it, every run you do. How did you find learning a longer track?
I mean, think has this track been out for about a month? So just with the amount of time it's been out, that wasn't a problem.
Okay.
And a minute long, that's not too bad, and there aren't that many elements, so it was all right.
No worries about getting lost on the landscape and some of the rolls left, right, left, right.
No problems really.
And so for the future races coming up, will we expect to see you, assuming they don't clash with real life races and other things that you're taking part in, are we going to see you in races 3, 4 and 5 later on this year?
I think race 3 is British Championships, so I don't think I'll be there, but then the next 2 I'll see.
Yeah, race 3 does clash with the British Championships. I'm having the same problem, sadly. So maybe we won't see each other in race, or maybe you and I will see each other in race 3, but not at this race 3. Just give me a shout out of the 8 pilots who are left. We got Fenneman, Gabri Prince, Gagenga, and Valprim in semi-final 1. We got Ion, Yayu, Sabine Mim, and Matteo FPV in semi-final 2. Who do you think is going to win this?
Oh, Yayu, I'd put as favourite. He's looking very quick, but hasn't set a good heat time today. Yeah, so I'd probably still say Yayu, but I mean, they're all performing well, and there's so much variation in heats.
Yeah.
People are knocking 10 seconds off of time just like that, so could go anywhere.
Yep. So that's you don't know, but it might be Yayu then.
Yeah, I'd put Yayu as favourite, but could go anywhere.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's going to be super tight in both the grand final and the small final, however they work out. Sadly, FPV Gilbert won't see you there, but we will see you, or some of us will see you, at the British Championships. So congratulations for qualifying for the national finals, and commiserations for not making it into the later stages today.
Thank you.
Cheers, Gilbert. And lots of support coming for you, FPV Gilbert, from Nate in the chat, as always, which is always nice. And he's still here. He's still here. FPV Gilbert, you're done now. Let's take a look again at what we're flying. So this is how we've been progressing through today's competition so far. FPV Gilbert, who we're just chatting with, just missing out, losing in the quarterfinals behind Fenneman and Gabri Prince, who find themselves in semi-final number 1. That's about to come up. Valprim and Gagenga FPV are the 2 pilots who'll be battling in that. France and Italy, Serbia and Japan. 2 of those pilots will find themselves into the grand final. The other 2 will find themselves down to the small final to fight between 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. Joining them, well, it's possibly another Frenchman, Yayu, Ion FPV from India, Sabine Mim, the last of the South Korean pilots still flying, and another Japanese pilot, Matteo FPV. They're all in semi-final number 2, but semi-final number 1. As the pilots are warmed up. Fenneman out of France in red, Gabri from Italy, Gabri Prince in blue, Valprim out of Serbia in green, and Gagenga FPV, he's flying for Japan in yellow. There are their racing times. So far, still nobody getting as quick in today's racing as they have done in qualification. That surprises me at this stage. Okay, planets on the block. Fenneman, Gabri Prince, Valprim, Gagenga. To the grand finals. We are underway. Everybody very close. Across the landscape. Gabri really turned up in the last run. He's alongside Fenneman as they go over the peak of the landscape here. Gabri still just ahead of him. Valprim just nudging it on. Look how close it is between all four of the pilots right now. Here's the Serbian's view as Gabri Prince just overall just swinging around in front of him. Oh, nobody's got this race all to themselves. Now Valprim maybe just starting to stretch away from Fenneman. Gabri Prince, Gagenga, a little bit of catching up to do. He's very good though onto that ladder turn. Gagenga was quick there and he's quick now, coming down the hill. Moving up past Gabri Prince, who was right at the front of things for a while. Fenneman with a little bit of work to do as well if he wants to hang on to this second. And Valprim, as he's been in every race so far, out in the front, not troubled by anybody, but they're closer to him than they were in the earlier races. Valprim now to the lane. Fenneman, second one to reach that. Gabri Prince just a little bit behind Gagenga now. Valprim is already finished. That race ended so quickly. Valprim in a 1:13. Fenneman follows him to the grand final with a 1:14. And Gagenga and Gabri finds himself down in fourth place of all of those. So Gabri was saying earlier on he'd really like to make it to a grand final. Unfortunately, this is not the one, as he's going to find himself into the small final, hoping to improve on the sixth place that he got at the previous race. Valprim, though, into the grand final as he was in the first race of the year. And Fenneman, 24th out of qualifying. Yeah, I don't think that's what you can be doing in qualifying. Fenneman goes to the grand final with Valprim. Congratulations to both of those. 73.8, 74.1, 0.3 of a second between the two of those. Yeah, so Fenneman to the grand final, Valprim to the second. Gabri and Gagenga to the smaller final. That'll be coming up before the grand final later. So yeah, just a little bit confusing in the middle of that bracket there, but as I say, Fenneman just second in that run, Valprim first. So it is Valprim and Fenneman who will go to the grand final, and it is Gabri Prince and Gagenga FPV who will go to the small final. So yeah, this is just not quite clear on the graphics and the highlighting on who's going where. But Valprim and Fenneman, first two pilots into the grand final. Who joins them? We'll find out in a moment. Just taking another look at those times. 0.3 between Valprim and Fenneman. I'm still not sure that's even the quickest that Valprim has flown today. And then Gagenga and Gabri Prince were close between those, and they will race each other again, along with the two pilots who come third and fourth out of semi-final number 2. So Gabri, capable of flying a bit quicker than Gagenga, and also obviously vice versa. So either one of those could find themselves in fifth, could be the winner of the small final, get the points that come with that. Points being part of the entire season, as I mentioned. So an FAI World Cup season gives points to every one of the races that takes part as part of that season, of which there are 5 this year. We showed you earlier on the scores that were earned out of race number 1. You get points based on your finishing position, and also points for being there. Like, everybody gets at least a point. But the highest positions, they get points for that finishing position, winning and so on, but also they get more bonus points depending on how many other competitors were in the competition as well. So an event with many, many competitors in it is considered more bonus points than one with fewer competitors. And so that's how the final points are scored. That's highlighting who's going where. So yeah, Fenneman, Velprim going up, as we know. Not quite winner gold and silver yet, but they'd like to be and are capable. Who joins them in that grand final? We're going to find out with our remaining 4 pilots. Swan Vermissen, Yayu out of France. The winner of the first race of 2024, the inaugural event a few weeks ago. Also the winner of the only other FAI area drone race that happened last October in 2023. So the undefeated reigning champion of FAI e-drone racing, Yayu. Swan Vermissen from France wants to get another win. Doesn't want anybody else to be an e-drone champion. Yayu will be heading up the pilots in semi-final number 2. Then we have Krutharth, Ion FPV racing out of India, one of the very, very best pilots of the growing Indian drone racing scene. I know there's plans afoot for the Indian Drone Racing League that I'm very excited to hear about as well. Ion, you should be racing and warming up right now, but if you listen to this later, please get me involved. Min Sabim out of South Korea. Could be an upset from him. He's got some work to do if he wants to keep up with the others, but he could be poised to take advantage of anything else in a race. And then Matteo FPV. He finished 17th, just outside the top 16 pilots at the first race this year. That's not indicative of what a great pilot Matteo FPV is. Yuki Matsuyama will be looking to show that his second place in qualification gets him the spot in the grand final. On this track, maybe this is when Yayu is the one to miss out. Yayu and Ion, first and second in the previous race. Sticking together throughout the brackets so far. Do they go to another grand final to fight in that one alongside each other? Yayu in red, Ion FPV is in blue, then Sabim Min from South Korea is in green, and Matteo FPV from Japan. The best of all of these 4 pilots in qualifying. He's going to be in yet. Sabine getting a lot of support in the chat, Yuki as well. Here it comes, the last 2 spots in the grand final. Come and get it. Everybody and stuff. Let's see what happens. Into the first of the obstacles. Everybody's through that with no issues as you'd expect with these incredible pilots. Yayu just starting to take the first position into his hat. Ion, Sabine and Matteo all trying to stick with him. Yayu nice and clean out in front as we're so used to seeing him fly. Ion FPV doing some good work as well, but ahead of Ion FPV is Matteo FPV. At the moment we're on board with him. He's in the second place and very close to Yayu, starting to stretch from Ion and Sabine Min, who's down in 3rd and 4th respectively. Down they all come, down the cliffside. Yayu through into the gates first. Matteo battling through those with no problems as well. Yayu first, Matteo second. Everybody so close. Look at your progress bar. They're nearer than it appears. Matteo past the rocks. Ion's there now. Yayu through the gates. Then Matteo and Ion FPV is not far behind him. Sabine Min still down in 4th. Not out of this. Matteo FPV getting into some real problems with his approach for a couple of the gates there. From 2nd to 3rd to 4th. It's all gone wrong. For Yuki, the 2nd place pilot in qualifying, and the brilliant Japanese pilot, he's way behind. Ahead of him, Sabine Min now pushing for the grand final alongside Ion. Both of those, Yayu is out onto the lake and making the final turn. He's in. Ion FPV on the inside to the turn first. Makes it, keeps it, goes to the grand final. Sabine Min, who was a long way behind throughout, had a grand final spot in reach. It's a small final he goes to along with Matteo FPV, who finishes there. It's Yayu in first. It's Ion FPV with him again in second. Then Sabine Min, he misses out on the grand final. He's in third. Could have gone in all sorts of ways, that final race. Wow. Less than 4/10 of a second between a grand final and a small final spot between Ion FPV and Sabine Min. And Matteo was in there for a long time too. Ion was missing out for some time. Wow. Great to see so many of the Japanese community in the chat, Maddox, Nutsi and Gigenga and others. It's going to be Yayu and Ion who progress to that grand final. And well deserved after the racing and the qualifying and their consistent performances. Sabine, Min and Matteo will race again. Of course, they will be in the small final to come. Wow, Valprim, Fenneman, Yayu, Ion, FPV. What a lineup of pilots. Third, fourth, fifth qualifiers all in there. Matteo FPV, much quicker than the other pilots in the small final based on qualifying, but he just hasn't kept that clean flying together during the actual races that we've had so far today. Could come in very cleanly and take the small final, but he's going to need a really, really good run at it. Before we get to that small final, I think we can try and have a chat with someone, one of the competitors from the grand final that's coming up. We'll find out here in a moment. But look at that, 2 French pilots into the grand final. Serbia and India in there too. 2 Japanese pilots into the small final with Italy and South Korea. Let's talk to Ion FPV, who's with us from India. Let's grab Ion. Not sure if he'll be able to hear me. Don't have him in the room. Ion, can you hear me?
Hello.
Got a wave. Let's see. Ion, can you... here we go. Ion, there we go. Ion FPV. Hey, Ion, you're in a grand final. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Great racing from you. Solid performance in qualifying as well. Of course, third in that. How do you like this track?
Not my favorite, let me be honest. It's got some pretty blind turns there, which catch you off guard. I think we have seen that with many pilots here, and but I'm coping, and let's see what happens in the finals.
Yeah, there's a few dives, aren't there, over some ridges where suddenly the gates are out of sight until you get very little notice of them, and then they're leaning in unexpected directions. How do you like an A to B track as well, instead of it being laps?
I mean, it doesn't matter much. I feel it's fine, especially when we have a good amount of practice time. I mean, it's okay, it doesn't matter much, but I would like to say that the environment is very pretty. Would love to go there sometime and fly in real life.
Yes, absolutely, wouldn't we? Do you know where I'd like to go and see some flying as well? Ion, India. Just mentioning it, just saying. Indian Drone Racing League there's a lot of discussions going on about that, which I'm excited to see as well. How's your racing been recently? We haven't chatted for a little while. What have you been up to?
It's been good. Right now it's off season in India, so not much racing going on really, but it's going to start up again soon, I think in August or early September. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I'm excited to get back and get flying.
And as well as real life flying, you are pretty handy on a simulator. You were the runner-up of the previous event this year, a few weeks ago. You may not like this track as much, but your qualifying time has been very, very good. You've been through the whole bracket alongside Yayu. He was the one who beat you in race 1. What are you going to do to be in front of him at the end of the grand final?
I think it comes down to consistency. I'm just going to fly my own race. I mean, not worry about what Yayu is doing, not worry about what Valprim's doing. I'm just going to fly my own race and let's see, right? It's a long season as well. Let's see what happens.
You've mentioned Valprim there. He's well worthy of a mention. I think we know how good he is from the TCL and other events too. Are you feeling confident that you can win this, or if not a second, or is this one really up for grabs?
I'd say this one is one of those that anything can happen, and I think that the entire bracket series today has shown that, with Gilbert being the huge upset that went away. And yeah, I mean, let's just see, I don't want to say anything. I'm just going to fly my own race and hope for the best.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll let you get ready for it. I'll let you get some warming up in. Congratulations on making it to another grand final. Let's see if this is the one that you come away in gold.
Thank you, Matt.
Good luck, Ion. I think you might be warming warming up while talking to me. Because I'm just having a look at the warm-ups and the practice, and he's flying. Fair enough. He's not. I mean, he's right now he's orbiting a mountain rather than racing. But yeah, there you go. Oh, so your grand final and your small final, everybody. Two great races to look forward to. The small final will be first. Gagenga FPV, Gabri Prince, Sabine Mim, and Matteo FPV. 4 great pilots. A few of them definitely with the fingertips onto the grand final, but just not there today. But 4 terrific pilots. And like I said, we haven't seen any qualifying times beaten by any of our pilots yet, so perhaps it's not going to happen today. Perhaps their best times are just not with them in the heat of competition. As you can see, Matteo should be the pilot who would come out of this with the win and be 5th. After that, difficult to call based on the performances we've seen. Sabine Min, not necessarily at the front as much, but definitely hanging on with consistency and not buckling under pressure. Gabri Prince really turned up in the second race of today. Could definitely be at the front of this thing. Gagenga FPV, a lot of support for them from the Japanese community. Would love to see the best out of all 4 of these pilots. It is the small final time. Gagenga for Japan in red, Gabri Prince for Italy in blue, Sabine Min for South Korea in green, Matteo FPV for Japan in yellow. Your small final. We send it! And it's a great start from Gabri Prince and everybody between the rocks with no issues. So close to all 4 pilots. Gabri Prince just leading them out there through the slalom, as you can see. Gagenga, then Sabine, then Matteo FPV. Second, third, fourth currently. It's Gabri Prince really attacking this. Nobody else looks like they're flying slowly, and yet that blue drone just continues to stretch away, constantly, gradually moving. And it is Gagenga from Japan who's the first one to get into any trouble there. And Gabri having some difficulties with the first of the really technical obstacles. From that lead where he was clear away, he's in third. Like I said, perhaps the one with the most to do here is in the lead. Got to keep that working for them. Don't buckle under pressure. Matteo FPV, their second place pilot right now from Japan, chasing Sabine Mim. Better turn, I think, from him over that top and going through all of those gates like he's got this absolutely dialed in, absolutely memorized. That's gorgeous work from Matteo. And yet Sabine is still in front of him, but not for long. Matteo's past him now. A little bit more consistent. Sabine crashes into the rocks. He's still in just sort of chances for second. He was maybe losing it to Gabri, but Gabri is really slow right now and been passed by Gagenga. All of the steam has gone out of Gabri's fight. Sabine is in. Matteo is in. Gagenga and Gabri Prince finish it as well, but it was a race of different stories. That Matteo FPV gets the win in the small final just ahead of Sabine Min. Then Gagenga in third, and sadly for Gabri Prince, it just all came undone. Limped home in fourth. Matteo ends up winning that with 4.5 seconds between him and Sabine Min. Great showing from the South Korean pilot. He should be delighted with getting second in that. Gagenga maybe will be a little bit disappointed he wasn't closer to those top 2 positions. Gabri Prince, I think, after hoping he would make himself to a grand final, he will be disappointed that he finishes today in 8th place. That is your small final results. Matteo FPV, the winner of that, will be 5th place in today's standings. Then Sabine, Gagenga and Gabri Prince 6th, 7th and 8th place out of those competitors. Small final won by Matteo FPV. He's had a mixed tournament as well. Really came together there on that final run. But wasn't easy. Needed a little bit of luck, as you do always in some races. Needed some other pilots to have some mixed fortunes too. It's who's consistent to the end. It's a whole tournament works like that. There's another look at some parts of this beautiful location. As Ion said, yeah, let's go there and fly this. I think I'll put my commentary desk on the top up there. I think it might be a bit cold. Have commentated from a mountain in -1 degrees. Happy to do that again if anybody wants to go and find a real location and stick us on it like this. But what you're about to enjoy is the grand final of the 2024 FAI E-Drone Racing World Cup's second race of the season. Race 1, the inaugural event a few weeks ago, won by Yayu. Second place went to Ion FPV. They are both in this coming grand final. Who was third? Oh, that was Valprim. He's in this grand final as well. We have the first, second, and third place pilots of our previous run, the inaugural event happened a few weeks ago. First, second, and third from that grand final are in this grand final too. This is the second race out of 5. The pilots today will be scoring points towards that World Cup score for the season. Races 3, 4, and 5 will be upon us later on this year. Race 3, the finals of it take place on Sunday, the 8th of September. So make sure you join us here, wherever you're watching on Twitch or Facebook or YouTube or so on. And make sure you join us to catch the results of race 3. But you could be in race 3 rather than just watch it. You might be racing in it. You just need to go to areadrone.com to find out all the details of how you can get the game on Steam and, of course, how the FAI's season works. But yes, this is open to everybody. You don't need to have an FAI license like you do for the real life racing. They wanted to make it accessible to everybody. You just need a copy of Area Drone the game and you can enter the tournaments. You can enter, go through the qualifying, try and make it onto the live stream, try and get yourself some FAI points. Who knows, maybe a race title as well. That's available for you even if you haven't been in the first 2 races this year. So make sure you get involved before race 3 comes along. The grand final is just warming up. Let's just show you again though if you want to take part in the next event. Registration opens in less than a week's time, the 10th of August. That's next Saturday. That's when registration opens. Qualification begins a week later, the Saturday afterwards, the 17th of August. That's when you can start to fly your qualifying rounds on the track for the third race. And then the 7th and the 8th of September is when the actual competition happens. The 8th will be live streamed like we're doing today. All those information, you can find it on areadrone.com and at the fai.org/eDrone Racing World Cup 2024-calendar, where you can find out about the other races going on this year, which I guess means we can mention the races 4 and 5, which are taking place in really, really amazing track locations. Some real life tracks being used, but I won't say any more than that, just in case. But yep, the next event opens next Saturday, the registration that is, and qualification opens in-game a week after that. And for qualification, you just rehearse and, practice. You can tell I'm a performer, rehearse. You rehearse your racing in-game, and then when you feel you're warmed up and ready, you tag your next one to be a qualification run in Area Drone, and that's how you set your qualification times. You can set 12 of them. Some pilots only set 1 or 2. Fenneman, for example, only set 1 in qualifying, and that was clearly not indicative of how good he is. While our grand final warms up, let's take another look at what you can use to race. Here is your grand final for the 2024 FAI E-Drone Racing World Cup race number 2 on our Alpine location. Welcome everybody, Matt Andrews here. Very proud to be bringing you the grand final between 4 incredible pilots. They are Valprim from Serbia, Fenneman from France, Yayu also from France, and Ion FPV out of India. 4 great pilots. Yayu the winner of the previous race, Ion FPV was second, Valprim was third. Fenneman wasn't in the previous race, the inaugural event that we had a few weeks ago, but did race and make it to the grand final of the 2023 event that we did in October last year. So very, very capable of getting right into the fight amongst these. Welcome everybody joining us on YouTube and on Facebook and on Twitch and everywhere you are. Does Yayu get the 3rd win at the 3rd E-Drone race? Can he win all of them? Can Ion finally get past him, as he's not managed to do all day? He's been progressing through the whole bracket in second behind Yayu. Can he get past him? Can Valprim upset both of them and take a win? He was 3rd behind both of them at the first race of the season. Can Fenneman mix it all up as well and put a different Frenchman to the top of the tree? Valprim in red for Serbia, Fenneman for France in blue, Yayu is in green also for France, Ion FPV representing the proud Indian drone racing community, he's racing in yellow. 4 drones, 1 race, your grand final. Come and get it. Let's go, the grand final. Decent start from everybody. Yayu with the best of everybody mixing it around into first place. Now Valprim is the first one who wants to hang on and stretch it out a little bit, but as he goes around that cage, he's still there. Yayu just with him. Ion still in 3rd behind Yayu. Fenneman perhaps realizing how good these other 3 pilots are. He might be the 4th one to complete this race. Valprim still leading in with Yayu right alongside him. Ion currently in 3rd, so near to 1st, but Valprim and Yayu are the ones who are scrapping over that for now. Ion moves up, Valprim drops back down to 3rd. Fenneman is close to him. Valprim finding himself down the rocky road here, just a little bit rocky than he's used to. Ion, on the other hand, is in front of Yayu for the first time today. Yayu now, is Ion going to grab it from him and keep it? He's doing what he needs to do, but Yayu is very close to him and Valprim is not far behind in 3rd. Fenneman down in 4th and probably staying there. Yayu making all these obstacles fly well, but no, into the cage and not out of that cleanly. Valprim's ahead of him. Is Fenneman going to pass his compatriot as well? Ion now towards the lake. No one's troubling him. Yayu's not there yet. He's still finding his way through the slalom. Valprim behind him, but Ion clear out in front. The Indian pilot beats Yayu and everybody else. Ion is your winner, and in 2nd place, Valprim stays ahead of Yayu. Ion with the win. Valprim in a 1:17.6. Yayu limps home, makes it onto the podium in a 1:19, and Fenneman not too far behind, only 1/10 behind his teammate from France. A much closer finish than it looked like Fenneman would ever have during the rest of that race, but it got undone for Yayu with some crashes that are very unlike him. Ion got away, Valprim in the lead at the start, down to the back, ends up in 2nd. That race mixed around. Yayu the winner of last time in 3rd, Valprim 3rd last time in 2nd, Ion the runner-up last time, and behind Yayu in every race today, it is Ion FPV, whose consistency and strength takes him to the win of our 2nd race for 2024. What a battle, what a great bit of fighting between all of those. I know he's going to be absolutely ecstatic with that. Valprim should be very pleased with his 2nd. Yayu, I think he'll realise he was just beaten there, just went a little bit wrong for him. He'll be kicking himself. Sure, he's still got a smile on his face though. Fenneman making it into the grand final. Good show from him. And as you see, Matteo Sabinmin, Gaganga and Gabri Prince are your other top 4 finalists, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th place respectively. Wow. Would Ion have beat Yayu all the way to the end? I'm not sure. He had a good run ahead of him for some of that race until Yayu had some big mistakes late on in it. It would be lovely to see a replay of that whole race again, just to unpick it and see where it went wrong for different pilots. But sadly, I don't think we've got a chance of bringing you a replay of it. We just celebrate instead that Yayu is in bronze, Valprim in silver, Ion FPV gets a win for the Indian racing community and himself. That's a second place in the first race of the season and a win in the second race. Let's talk to Ion FPV, who I'm sure is absolutely ecstatic about that win. Gustav, you're the champion today. Well done.
Hello.
Ion, you won it. You got it. The grand final, the champion, the title, the gold medal. It's yours.
Thank you so much, Matt.
You must be delighted. You're always smiling, but I think that's a particularly big smile.
Yeah. I mean, didn't expect it, but like I said, I'm gonna just fly my own race. Yeah, you and Valprim were ahead of me, and then at a point of time I started catching them up, and then they had that big mistake, and then I had a huge lead, so that was perfect.
There was a huge lead at the end as well, and yes, you're right. You said earlier on Valprim's one to watch here, and Yayu, we know how good he is as well. But yeah, they both came a bit unstuck. Yours was clean. I'm not sure it was entirely without incident. I think everybody had maybe a few turns, but I didn't see you have any particular crashes.
No, I don't think I tapped the gate. I think I went more safer in a few spots because I just didn't want to, full send and crash into the thing. So
it's the grand final, Ion. You're taking your thumb a little bit off the full send.
Yeah, and it worked.
It did work. Yeah, and I mean that's it, isn't it? It's consistency is what you said when I talked to you after the semi-final. Consistency is important. That's it. Fly your own race. Everybody else might crumble all around you as they did. And you've been following Yayu through this whole bracket today as well. Yeah. So as great friends as I know you are, must be nice to have beat him in one.
I'm gonna admit it is pretty good, to beat the legendary Yayu. But yeah, no, he has a great race as well, and I guess it was a bit unlucky for both of them, maybe fighting a bit too much amongst themselves, but it is what it is. It is zone racing, and these things happen. Yeah.
I mean, in real life racing, you got to be aware of where your opponents are, and you want to try and get past them. And obviously, there's more of a crash of more chance of an mid-air than there are in what we're doing here. You still got to just focus no matter what's going on around you. You managed to do that really well. How did you do that?
Thank you. I don't know actually. Just I think I'm going to keep saying the same thing. Just focus on your own race. I mean, it was a bit. It's very easy when you see a pilot in front of you and you're like, okay, I need to catch him no matter what. And you go over the 100%, you try to go like 101, 102, and you're always going to crash when you're at that place. So it's very important to stay at 99% of your, let's say, maximum speed and just carry that around through the lap. And it's easier said than done because adrenaline's pumping, your nerves are going, you just want to, full send every single gate, but you end up, blowing out turns and making mistakes and all these other things. So keeping
fire is in the belly, though, isn't it? When there's somebody in front of you, like you say, you do want to get past whoever that is.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, you kept that in check. You managed your emotions and the adrenaline and everything else that's going on so well there, Ion, and you are the winner. And I think, and we have to get the points verified and so on as well, but that's going to do you in great standings in the whole season, as you were second out of the first race and the winner of this one. Obviously, the points vary on number of competitors, so it's not a direct comparison, but you may well find yourself at the top of the overall standings out of this race.
Fingers crossed, let's see. That would be a good start to the season.
If not, you must be in second if you're not already in the lead, I should think.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm pretty sure the results will be announced soon, and hopefully, fingers crossed. And 3 more races to go, and let's see what happens.
Amazing. Ion FPV, you're the champion of today's FAI E-Drone Race World Cup, race number 2. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and thank you, everybody, for supporting me.
What a great competitor. Well done, Ion FPV. Always so good to see him and doing such great work for representing his community as well. Here are your top 8 pilots out of today. Ion FPV. These points will be verified and double checked by the FAI. As I said, there is a score you get for coming first and second and third and so on. And then more points are added based on the size of the competition, the number of competitors. So it looks like based on all of the competitors that entered this one, 80 points will be the score that Ion picks up as the winner. Valprim will get 75, Yayu 72, and so on. Those points are more than likely going to be verified and added on to the totals, but we can't give you the season totals until the FAI have verified those, which they will do in due course. So keep an eye on Area Drone and the FAI's websites to see what the standings are in a few days' time. I think Yayu might be available for us to grab and have a chat with as well. It would be great to see how he feels and what happened to him in that second race in which he came third place there. I think with the 8 points that Ion has outscored him there, Yayu may still find himself on top of the season rankings due to the first event having been bigger and him scoring more points in that one. Let's chat with Yayu though and see how he's feeling in his purple colours for Cyclone Racing. Yayu, great racing all day. Really enjoyed seeing you battling through the bracket, but you must be disappointed to end the day in third.
Yeah, the final was not good for myself, but GG to Iron. He deserved the win. He put the time. Yeah.
He's been battling alongside you all day. He's been finishing behind you all day. He finished behind you in the inaugural event earlier on this year as well. It must hurt when it's the grand final race, and that's really the only mistake you've made all day.
Yeah, no, I did a lot of mistakes today. Was not feeling very confident, but yeah, he flew great at the right time, and he got the win. He deserved it, and now we'll take our revenge on the next one.
Take the revenge, there it is. With Valprim featuring in that one as well, the lead was changing back and forth between all of you. How did you focus with the difficult tight turns and drones disappearing and coming across you at times?
I didn't really see anyone on my field of view. Just sometimes Valprim at the start of the race, but then yeah, just some bad mistakes, and then yeah, when I crashed twice after Iron passed us, and yeah, another stupid mistake on the dive, and it's hard to take it back, so I lost a lot of time there.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise no, just like myself doing stupid mistakes. It's not really a part of like seeing other people in front of you.
You were the fastest in qualifying on the track earlier on this year. You were 5th on qualifying for this one. So this track obviously didn't suit you quite as well. As a A to B point race though, instead of laps, was that a different challenge for you too?
Not really. I think it doesn't really matter. It's just maybe the path was not like as I not want it to be, but like as I'm feeling great on it. Yeah, the path was not really for me, and it suited very well to Ion, so perfect to him.
I have next to me here, as part of my little collection, the Paris drone race banner, which I couldn't unfortunately come and commentate. But underneath that, I've got my French beret that the French drone racing team gave me at the World Championship last year, ready to wear in your honor, Yayu. But sadly, it's just not there today, is it? I'm just going to rub it in a little. I'm sorry. Not sorry. There it was, ready for you in the French community. There.
Oh, I wanted to see this.
An Englishman was ready to wear a French rugby beret, of all things.
Next one.
Yeah, sure. You've got more wins in your future, Yayu, I know, in all of the competitions.
I hope so.
Yayu, great racing. Commiserations to you. 3rd is still a great result, but I know it's not where you want it to be. But thank you for all the racing, and I'll wear the beret for you another time.
All right. Thank you much. See you.
Oh, what a good competitor. Never write that man off. So yeah, our standings will be verified over the next few days, and we will find out who's got what points. And the next event, race number 3. Registration opens next Saturday, 10th of August. Qualification opens Saturday, the 17th of August. Get Area Drone the game by going to areadrone.com and find out more about the game and how you can enter the FAI eDrone Racing World Cup. You can join us for race number 3, and if you don't want to take part in it, then make sure you're joining us on the 8th of September. Sunday, the 8th of September is when the next live stream will be of round 3 of the 2024 FAI eDrone Racing World Cup. That's when you'll be able to watch another live stream and see the finals and see who gets the points in that competition. If you're taking part in it, will be after qualification is finished. The competition will be on the 7th and 8th of September. There'll be one round on the 7th, and then everything else will be live streamed on the 8th. All of that at areadrone.com. And there's production and race control, who are probably feeling a lot more relaxed now. I mean, they're simulated, so it's all virtual anyway, but great work from them. We've got to give our thanks to all of the Area Drone team, Virtual Hugo, Virtual Alexander, and Virtual Eloan, for doing such great work. And thanks from everybody as well to the FAI, especially Bruno Delors, who has been so instrumental in getting an esport into the FAI and having the eDrone racing as part of the FAI and this season as well. And Bruno Delors does so much for the world of drone racing and drone sports on behalf of the FAI all over the globe. So thanks very much from everybody to you, Bruno, and to all of the Area Drone team as well. And to all of our competitors for such an amazing, amazing set of races today. Thoroughly enjoyed seeing what they could all do here. I guess nobody's got their hands on any buttons now over in production and race control, so we're just stuck here forever. But thanks very much for joining us here today, wherever you've been watching. Don Capobres is in the chat, ending with a Yayu is the best. Well, not today, Don. Ion had the better of him in the racing, but we know how good Yayu will put up a fight next time he's there as well. And of course, your American friends, Don, and all of our other racers. Congratulations to everybody who made it into the latter stages of this, everybody who qualified into the top 64 and into today's racing as well. Congratulations most of all to Yayu in 3rd, Valprim in 2nd, Ion FPV, the champion of our 2nd race here. I've been Matt Andrews. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. Join us on areadrone.com to take part in the future races, or on the 8th of September to see the next one. But from everybody here, thanks for watching. Well done to our pilots. We'll see you next time.